Welcome, everyone, to the latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, I'm Alex, a.k.a. The Gozfather.
I'm Christian, a.k.a. Sudowood45.
I'm Preston, a.k.a. Funkadelic Jedi.
Yeah. And we have so much to get to today, but before we take a roundabout to... Before we take a roundabout to Preston's comment corner, because we're not even sure if that's going to continue, let's talk about something that happened over the week. I don't want to give too much away. I'll actually just let him talk about it himself, and we'll get into it. So, Preston,
you want to do this at the beginning of the podcast, not the end of the podcast?
Oh, it needs to be done right now.
Oh, it needs to be done. All right. So I will be moving that spoiler-filled discussion about me beating Expedition 33. If you don't mind spoilers and you want to know what choice I made at the very end of Expedition 33 and the shaming I got from Alex, feel free to continue on to the very end. I will be stapling that right before the end of the episode. YouTube will have the chapters, so if you want to skip around, feel free. Otherwise, this will be spoiler-free until the end of the episode. Now, let's skip ahead a little bit.
So let's jump into our normal podcast and take a trip over to Preston's comment corner before we get into our weeks.
We do have a couple of comments here. First one is from Tori. Why do I feel like the saga with Alex and his yard with the chipmunks? Right? I had that correctly as the creatures terrorizing him. Oh, she's asking if the chipmunks are the proper ones. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but will play out like Bill Murray versus the Gopher in Caddyshack. Though I totally second Christian's suggestion to become a falconer. Just get spiky vest for the pup. And according to Google, it doesn't have to be just falcons. You can train hawks or eagles. I have total faith you can do this, Alex. It will be a nice summer project for you.
So
I would say we have to limit to falcons, because even though with the spiky vest that would stop, I know falcons, we talked about, falcons cannot pick up Bash. They could do damage to him. Mm-hmm. An eagle can pick up Bash. An eagle will take Bash and leave. That's a fact. I know that. So definitely keep it to falcons, because eagles is too big. We've went too far. That one would take Bash and leave. Fair. We can't have that.
We have hawks here, and hawks are not great either. Like, I can't. You know, we're a animal loving family here. Allie doesn't like to kill bugs in our house. Yeah, she lets like cockroaches out of the house to just make their way back in and stuff. Like, I typically draw the line at spiders, and she'll let a spider outside. If she's not looking, I'll stomp a spider. But like,
because they just come back.
Yeah, and like typically, depending on where they are, I'll leave a lot of them, because spiders do.
Yeah, tiny spider in the windowsill. So, like, leave there. Yeah.
We're a family, an animal loving family here. However, there have been many times where we have been sitting out on our patio, and we have lots of birds, and we have a camera that that you can now like bird feeder with a camera on it, right? And more than once a year, we'll be out there. It'll be a nice night, just chilling, having a beer, sitting by a bonfire, and all of a sudden you hear screaming, and a hawk has flown over to one of the local birds' nests and just eaten said baby birds. And it's the adult parents flying around trying to get it to go, and the hawk's like, I don't care. So like, I have hawks, and we have a weird relationship, because like I sometimes hear that stuff in my dreams.
So in that moment, because I do wonder about this. In that moment, is Allie like circle of life? Or is she like,
the baby birds?
Alex, you have to kill that hawk to save the family of birds?
No, I mean, there's nothing I could do. The trees here, so like, what am I going to do? I can't climb it. Like a Jordan. I live in a residence. Any bullet goes up will come down. Like, you can't.
You can't hit something with it.
You can't do that.
You just don't miss.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, I mean, it is the circle of life. It's understandable. Hawks have to live too, right? Hashtag let hawks eat, I guess. But it is terrifying, and we see that more than once a year.
Let me just explain how far I actually am, like, I get it. I am mostly the same. I draw my line at pests of any kind, as far, and I really mean that in the bug kingdom.
Sure.
Like,
yeah, we get it. You like spiders.
If I see... Oh, first of all, dickhead, I'm talking. Like, you don't have to cut me off.
Okay,
but
tripping.
also, I'm just saying, like, with, like, rats or like, you know, gophers, whatever, chipmunks, I would not do anything to them ever. I would try to capture them, release them, do their thing. Mm-hmm. I would go as far that if I lived out in the country and I had a gun and I saw a spider, there would be a thought in my head to just shoot at it. Not in my house, but if I was outside, like I was in my garage area or something, or out in the yard and I saw like a big spider, I would think, I should shoot you. Like, just to really drive home the point that I hate you.
Spiders do good things. They do pretty good.
And they can do those things elsewhere. I told, there was, when I lived in St. Louis, the house that I had when we were getting it treated for bugs, they asked me, hey, in your basement, because in St. Louis, for people who don't know, it's all limestone basements that all leak all the time. They're shitty, awful. You can't ever actually use the basement for anything. It sucks. So they asked me, they were like, hey, do you guys go down there often? And I was like, I mean, outside of doing laundry, no, we don't go down there. And they go, cool, do you care if I just, like, coat it in poison, like, top to bottom? I was like, oh, dude, go nuts. Like, I use more than you think you should. And that's what I heard them spraying all along the ceiling of the basement, so the floor, they everywhere. When I came down there the next day, they said that they got to the point when they were leaving and they were coming out that little back door of my old basement, they were like, yeah, it was dripping. Like, it's good. You're good. And I was like, sick. That's what I want. Thank you. Fuck them. I hope that wherever I live at any point in time might as well be bug Chernobyl.
Sure.
Amazing. They get close and the rads go up. They just like start getting sick.
Yeah, good. Good.
That's funny.
All right.
Yeah.
Next up is from Jake. I don't want a single person on this podcast to sit here and pretend like they don't find one Nickelback song that absolutely slaps. It's not 2010. You guys can like Nickelback. It's okay. Even if it's a song off their first album, there's absolutely one that everyone taps their toes to. If you disagree, Christian, you're lying.
Nope. I'm not.
Nope.
I could give you a song that I like by the... I mean, I don't know. I'd have to Google it real quick.
Well,
look, I liked them. I had the Silver Side Up album. I think that was their first popular one. I don't know if it's their first.
I like the Hero song from the Spider-Man movies, but that's not a Nickelback song. That's the lead singer doing a song.
Chad Kroeger and the other guy.
Here's the thing. Let me be very clear. I am not one of those people that like hates.
No, I make fun.
Like, I'm not going around and like shaming people, thinking like if they come up to me and they're like, "Yo, I love Nickelback," I'm like, "Okay, cool, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't care. That's fine." That being said, I absolutely do not enjoy a single song of theirs. Like,
you know what I'm willing to do, Christian, for fun, for everybody here, for Jake specifically, this week, I will give each Nickelback song off the Silver Side Up album one play to find which one I like best out of that entire album.
Jesus Christ. I will...
Apple Music, well, they're going to get a $4 residual from me this week as I listen to every song on that album. And I'll tell you, because there was one song I know I liked on that album, but it wasn't how you remind me. I just don't remember what it was.
Nope. There was a song that they did that I remember, I had a family member who was just, in love with Nickelback, to the point where it made them physically upset every single time that they would play a Nickelback song, then look at me for a reaction, and I always go, it's just not for me, man. I don't know. Like, I'm sorry. And they would get so upset to the point where there was a song that Nickelback came out with that was a tribute that they did to Dimebag Darrell, who's the guitar player for Pantera and Damage Plan before he got murdered. And they were like, okay, this is going to be the one. Because they made it fucking way harder than their normal stuff because it's a tribute and blah, blah, blah. And they played it, and I looked at them and I was like, this sounds like every other Nickelback song you've ever played me. Like, I don't care. And again, I don't hate them. I don't wish ill upon them. I'm not one of those people that thinks like people who listen to Nickelback suck or whatever. Like, you guys know, I outside of teasing Alex about pop punk stuff, I never shame somebody on their music choices. No. If you can listen to whatever, it does not bother me, but that there is just certain things that I just not for me. And that's it.
Do you want to take a guess at how many albums they have? Not counting live albums, like 9. Just how many studio albums they have?
15.
11 studio albums, which is crazy. I've heard of like 3 of them. I think I do. The defense that Jake gave there does make me wonder: is Jake a big Nickelback fan? We've never talked about it. I guarantee he did.
I'm sure he loves it.
I think it becomes. Here's the thing. I think.
And I'm not judging, because I know I have plenty of bands that you would look at me and go like, really, you know, like, so I'm not judging them. I'm just
just music.
You I don't sound like it.
I think what happens is that Jake, and this is just a pure shot in the dark, but the games. I'm only basing this off the games that I know Jake plays. The games that Jake plays are very reactionary, let's say, as far as quips that have, like, I have the things that I have heard people say during an Apex Legends game have been some of the most vile and vitriolic things that I have ever heard a human being say. So I am sure that Jake is inundated with people who, if, like, you know, somebody says something like, oh, just something innocuous, like while you're playing, right? Like, you're playing with some friends and you're like, oh, you know, Nickelback, this, that, or the other, or, you know, whatever, Foo Fighters, who cares, right? Like, any big.
I mean, I wouldn't bring Foo Fighters into this conversation.
I'm saying people love
Foo Fighters.
I'm saying people.
Yes,
I know you do. I'm
Dave
not
Grohl
saying,
is an amazing human being.
But people love to hate them. Like, is
do
what
they?
I'm saying.
People love to hate the Foo Fighters.
People love to hate everything. To be fair, yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't think the same level.
But what I'm
Nickelback
saying is, there's a
or
certain
Creed,
level of popularity
sure.
It's like Taylor Swift, right? Like, people love to hate Taylor Swift, and it's like, all that girl does is make catchy pop music. Leave her alone. Like, I now there's other things that you can make fun of Taylor Swift for, like taking a 15-second plane ride from one end of California to the other, right? But, like, outside of that stuff, like, she makes catchy pop music. Leave her alone. She's not doing anything. She's minding her business, making her things, right? But people love to hate it. That's what I mean. Foo Fighters is at that level of popularity where they are big enough and popular enough that there are people that, ew, you listen to... Like, I'm sure that's, you know, either way. It was not an attack on you two for liking Foo Fighters.
Be careful.
Christ. I know, the fucking Dave Grohl Defense Squad came and fucking rolled
next,
up.
I'm going to get real mad.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. We all know the pieces fit. So,
they do.
but the like, I'm sure that because of those like all that stuff that Jake has to deal with, I'm sure that he hears shit like that all the time. That probably grinds him to the point where if somebody, he's already revved up that when he hears somebody make a regular comment of like, oh yeah, Nickelback's not for me, he's like, oh Jesus fucking Christ, here we go, like, and he's just ready to go.
Damien move right there. Yeah.
No, yeah, dude, I know. And it's like, no, I'm not saying they suck. I'm not saying you're an idiot for liking them. I'm just saying they don't do anything for me, and that's okay. That's a normal take. That's it. There's nothing crazy there.
That's fine. All right. Well, real quick. I know it's going to be a long episode. Let's go through the releases real quick. I'm going to go through a couple of these just to get out of the way. So July 2025. We got Patapon 1 and 2 Replay coming to PlayStation, Switch, and PC. No Xbox love there. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 plus 4 coming out on everything. I don't know if you guys heard, but Preston's super stoked because they're putting Ninja Turtles in there.
I heard they were... weren't they like putting Bam Margera back in that game? Wasn't it like
I think Bam is back in now too, and they got the Doom Slayer in there. Yeah, they're doing some fun work with that one. I'm just glad we finally got it because there was a moment in time that we thought we were not going to get those. And those are the ones I probably played the most. All right, Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out on the Switch 2, July 17th. Shadow Labyrinth comes out on most things on July 18th as well. Monument Valley 3, July 22nd. Killing Floor 3, July 24th. Super Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV for the Switch 2, July 24th. I'm sorry. Wu Chang Fallen Feathers comes out on July 24th. Grounded 2 gets a preview. I'm assuming that's for like the people who are in like
they're doing early
stuff.
access again.
For that again, yeah, on this July 29th. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, if you couldn't already tell. Comes out on PC and it says consoles here, July 29th. And then at the very end of the month...
I want that game to be good.
I do too, but there's been so much stuff going on behind the scenes that I feel like it's not going to be...
And the style doesn't look like my style either.
Same thing.
It kind of reminds me of the Hobbit game when the first Lord of the Rings movies came out. They had like a Hobbit game for you to play, and that has that kind of art style. I'm not a big fan. Lastly... Ninja Gaiden Rage Bound comes out on July 31st. And those are your July games for 2025.
Nice. All right. Well, does anybody want to go first for their weeks? I know my week is pretty short.
You want to go ahead and go since you got the club?
Yeah. I was... you were talking about the games. I was like, I should check in to see if Vox Liberatus got a score on my fantasy league. Warhammer had an expansion come out. It is not. It has 1 rating right now on Metacritic. It's a 90.
That's a good rating.
But it doesn't get... It's not until 4 ratings come out that it gets a score, so...
Then we can kind of
anyway.
No, but...
We can say that works.
No. So we have to... If we the rule that we decided on the league was... Even if OpenCritic doesn't get a score, if Metacritic has a score but OpenCritic doesn't want to have yet,
we'll use that one.
I will manually score it to Metacritic, but one of them has to get the score.
Yeah, and neither one has a score yet. They only have early ratings, but I'm hoping good things.
Anyway, Stranding 2 came out. They got a real nice score.
Hey, surprisingly,
much to Kojima's chagrin, I guess.
Right. Yeah, surprising to Kojima.
So my week is pretty short. I tried out Dispatch for like 20 minutes. I played it for 5 minutes ago. Yep, this is a buy. So anyway, I don't have to spend too much time here.
No, yeah.
There was, Christian, in the beginning of that game of Dispatch, there was the choice where like you're at the urinal and the guy sticks out his hand to like fist bump. Mm-hmm. And then you can do it, and I did. And then he's like, you find out he works his suits. He's like, do you touch suits without washing your hands? Like, I don't touch anything. I just give it some shakes.
Yeah, let's give it a little shake.
It's very humorous. I'm very excited to see where that goes.
I knew you would like it. I did.
Yeah, like 5 minutes in, I'm like, this is for me.
Yeah.
So I played that. I did play a couple of games of Splitgate 2 with Jake. The game is good.
Nice.
It's hard right now because we always played the non-gate games, like so the non-portals, and right now there is no portal there's no option for not having portals, so you have a lot of the tryhards and the people that like really put a lot of time
doing
right
portals,
now.
doing crazy shit and shots, and
With that being said, I have one thing to say about this. So I didn't talk to Jake soon enough, so I bought they have the premium pass and the normal pass. I bought the normal pass, right, thinking like, oh, you'll get the stuff that comes in a normal battle pass. That's not what happens. So in this game, when you play, you earn like in-game tokens, essentially like in-game currency. Yeah. And then in that in-game currency, you can go to like a store and say like, oh, here's level 1. I want to buy this gun skin with the currency that I've got. What the pass does is it unlocks all the levels of things you can buy. So you don't get that stuff. It's saying like, oh, now all of your levels are unlocked. You're not limited to like the 10. So you can get whatever you want, but you still have to go earn that in-game currency. So you didn't get anything. You got the ability to play more games to then spend in-game currency to buy it. I wouldn't have purchased if I would known. Same with Jay. Like it's an insane battle pass, and for a guy to come out on stage and be like, "We're changing first-person shooters for the better. Like we're going back to the thing that everybody loved." To implement that and a battle royale mode is just
it's weird.
Whatever, anyway, asinine. But it plays well. There's some balancing issues. Anyway, I'm trying to think. I played the game. Okay, so I only played 2 other games. The game we're going to talk about later this week in the book club, so part 2 of Tomb Raider. Tune in for that. And then I started and beat a game and its DLC.
Oh, it's a lot of games.
So it is this weekend. I had a lot of yard work to do, but I couldn't do yard work the whole time because it was rainy and super hot. So in between yard work, I needed something easy that I could pick up and put down and play while we're watching TV with Allie and doing other stuff. And I restarted and finished Lies of P.
Oh.
And then picked up the DLC and
There
finished
you
the
go.
DLC.
All right.
And I did
can I tell you?
work. Yeah.
I wanted to. Okay, before I say this, just know it's all in jest, and
No, you don't have to say this to him. After what he's done all this week, you don't have to say this to him. All right? No. Take it back. Take it back.
I thought there was a moment where I was sitting and I saw, because I was actually playing something unexpected as well that I'll get to, but I saw Steam pop up. I saw Alex playing Lies of P, and I go, man, it's wild that game just got an easy mode patch, and here's Alex starting this game.
So funny, I didn't know.
I know.
So I started off. So that actually gets to the gameplay. So the game got two easy modes, I think. So
Might
there's
try
normal,
that, yeah.
which is now the hardest difficulty, and then there's like a story mode, and then like an ultra easy mode. So there's three options you can choose, but like normal is the hard. And I told Christian this, I think. I think I told Christian this. Maybe I told Travis. This game has a lot of great qualities from Souls games. In my opinion, it's harder than Elden Ring, and it's harder than any of the recent Souls games.
Yep.
Like, because first of all, there's no range. Well, there is now. There's a bow in the second game, but in the DLC. But leading up to that, there's no range. It's all melee, which automatically means you have to get up in things' face, and it makes it hard, right? But like they force you to interact with their perfect parry system, otherwise you will get stomped the fuck up.
Yep.
And like I can tell you, I could not get it. I could not get it. I tried. It's not like Clair Obscur where there's visual and audio cues for this. Like it's just a Souls game. You get smacked up, you die, you learn it. And then you try not to get hit the next time. And then after that, you get smacked up by another one, and you learn it, and you try not to... It's tough. So I played up to, like, Chapter 4 in normal. So it's like, how bad could normal be? I've played a lot of these Souls games now. Great. I was very wrong. I was very, very wrong. I knocked it down to easy, and even on easy... That's where I finished the game. Even on easy... Multiple bosses took me multiple attempts, and the final boss of each, the normal game and the patch, took me a few attempts. Like, and the other thing this game does is they don't always give you summons. Some fights have summons, and others they say, this is your damage check. Pass it or don't move on, and you're fighting by yourself. It's tough. But, man, I dug it. It had a real story. It wasn't like a normal Souls game where I'm trying to, like, figure stuff out just off of the, like, lore of a sword you pick up. Like there were actual cutscenes. I heard somebody say in a video like a turn of the century France, but Pinocchio is Italian and there's a lot of crossover between Italian and French style at that time. I'm pretty sure it's a turn of the century Italy, but whatever. I dug the style. I dug everything. I beat it all and I was like, I need more of this. Let's do the DLC. The DLC fits in so well. It has its own fantastic story with a really good turn, and it's not super long. The main game was 11 chapters. This is 5 chapters, so it was only a few hours long. But it was good, and the final boss in that was great. And it was also tough. Like, it tough in different ways. It wasn't just the puppets. It was like it kind of takes place in this zoo at the beginning, so you're fighting like these weird versions of like alligators and giraffes, and it was wild. But man, I'm sorry I slept on that game for so long. With that being said, I don't actually think I could have beaten it originally. No. Like it is that hard. I think that game probably would have made me quit if it would have been only normal back in the day. So everybody that did at the time and mastered that game, like good on you, because oh boy. Okay. It does leave with a stinger. Preston, I don't know if you plan on playing this game. Yeah, okay, so a little spoiler here for anybody who doesn't know, but like it ends with this stinger that literally made my jaw drop and I got super excited for. So like you're playing as Pinocchio and I knew Christian said I'm interested to see where they go. So I'm, as a Disney person, I'm going through my head of like, there's a Belle character. Could we venture into Beauty and the Beast, right? Like there's so much you could do with these other characters in different lands, whatever. But the twist at the end is they make this guy's talking on the phone. And he's like, when I get to blah, 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 I'll find her. He's like, I'll find Dorothy. And in my head, I was like, Dorothy? I was like, I don't know of a Dorothy right offhand.
Should.
Right? But I also didn't, I didn't think about Wizard of Oz is not necessarily like a Disney property, right? So, like, in fact, I think it was an MGM.
Well, is Pinocchio,
property.
Was that like a book or something like that before Disney made
it? Well, so 100%. It was a fable before. So it totally is valid, right? But in my brain, I'm thinking like a Disney sort of style. So they say Dorothy, and they go to this little girl who's like humming to herself in red shoes. She turns and hits her heels together. It's like, oh, that's good.
That'd be a fun one.
An Emerald City with like wild little robots.
Lion,
you could have a
Scarecrow,
cowardly lion.
yeah,
man.
Yeah, good characters. For that
nuts.
Good
so
boss battles for that too.
Yeah, shout out to Liza P. I didn't play it the year it came out, which I think was last year, the year before, but it was deserving of the time. It was great. It was great. And now I can move on. So that's all that I played. That was it. Dispatching that. What's that? Yeah.
Christian, would you like to go?
Sure. Yeah, I can go. So I played. So actually, I should start this. So, a benevolent benefactor sent me an early gift this year, and I went out to my package room to find some Final Fantasy Magic cards.
There you go. I was like, you know what, Alex? When you said like, what's Christian's? I need his apartment number because I don't know. I know his address, but I don't know the apartment number. I'm like, this guy's getting Magic cards. This guy's getting Final Fantasy Magic cards. Yeah.
Alex did. He sent me just a random thing of numbers, and I was like, what is this? So then I click on it, and then it takes me to the FedEx website, and I was like, you son of a bitch, what did you just do? And he was like, don't you think that if I would have wanted you to know what it was, I would have told you? And I was like, okay. And
actually, I think I was more snarky than that. He's like, what did you do? And I was like, I figured by the tracking number, you would know I sent you a package.
That's what it was. Yeah.
He's like, what is it? I was like, if I wanted you to know what I told you.
Yeah, but so I opened it, and I told Alex this when I was opening them, and I still maintain this. I am not unconvinced that somebody prepackaged these packs and then sent them to me, because I got almost every just a couple I think I'm missing, but almost every Final Fantasy IX card that is in that set.
Very nice.
I got. And the full art, like one of the little special art cards that you get, was the full art version of Zidane, who was the protagonist of Nine, obviously. I also got a fuck ton of 10 stuff. So I sent them all to Alex and was like, "Yo,
I'll go through my stuff this week, like this upcoming week." So
yeah,
I'll go through it.
And I took this as an excuse to finally, ages ago, I think it was actually it was a side quest that me, Preston, and Jake did, where we went through and categorized like our entire gaming collection.
So what, right? Top 10 most expensive games we owned or something like that.
Yeah, and like scanned them in and did that whole thing. Right, it was a cool episode. But all that's done, so now anytime I collect something new, I'm just like, boop, I put it in, cool, add it to the list, and we're moved on.
.com or .net or something like that, yeah.
Price charting, yep. And so I was like, that's sweet, cool, blah, blah, blah. Turns out that TCG Player has a similar thing for card collections. So I got all these cards, and I was like, you know what? Let me take this as an opportunity to go through and I will scan
catalog
every Magic. I did not do basic lands because I'm not a psychopath. I'm not doing that. Those cards are worth like 2 cents a piece. It's not worth it. Don't do that. It's too many. Especially because each fucking commander deck that Alex and I have ever bought comes with 40 fucking basic lands.
When you're cataloging your Pokemon cards, you're not going to do element fucking deck
right,
cards.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I limited it to any other card, including legendary lands, so like special ones, right? So like, and like for instance, the Mines of Moria is a special land in in the Lord of the Rings sets, a red land that you can use. So like those ones I did scan in. Either way, went through. I scanned in. I actually need to pull it up so I can give the exact number here. I scanned in 1,046 cards.
Goddamn.
Oh no.
And that came out to a grand total of $1,200.
Shit.
Not bad.
Okay. All right.
No, and a lot of it is, and I told Alex this afterwards because I was like, bro, you might be sitting on some stuff, because I was sitting on some stuff, is because some of those Lord of the Rings cards have just been going up for reasons I don't know. I mean, like, I guess, it does. I don't know.
They're
but
figuring
either
out the
way,
rarity and stuff like that. They're like, oh, people probably don't have these, and yeah.
I don't know. I still do not understand what drives the value of like games and stuff, right? I get, because like they're not in print anymore, and that does happen with cards, right? So I understand when cards go out of print and there's no more left, and so then it becomes a thing, right? But like some of the, like there was a Final Fantasy card, one of the 9 ones that I pulled was like $10 or something, and I was like, that's crazy, because they're going to print
They'll keep
more.
making it. Yeah, they'll keep making it.
Like, why pay $10 today what you can just get later? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I know. But, and so it was kind of stuff like that. But I was going through and, like, scanning some of these things, and, like, cards that I thought for, like, it was just so funny to go through, and I was like, cards I thought for sure when I pulled it out, I was like, oh, I bet this one is going to be fucking banging. And then it was like 68 cents. And I was like, interesting. Okay. And then I would scan like a random card that I was like, huh. And then it would be like $68. And I was like, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So either way, it was a very fun experience. I opened up all those cards. I was very happy. And then I just went back into MTGA and I just kept playing more Magic because it was very fun. I like playing Magic. It's very fun. So then I was like, well, I finished Yakuza and I, put all those demos, and then I got into a point where I was asking these guys, I was like, I don't know what I want to get. I want to get into, I want to play another Final Fantasy game because I'm just really feeling the Final Fantasy-ness of everything that's happening right now. So I was like, well, I want to do ones that I haven't done before, right? So do I go and play 6 for the first time? Or I was like, or is this finally the time I go back and play 8? I was like, I've never played 8 before. And I always had, I've told that story before on the podcast, but there was always, a whole thing. And so I was like, I'm far enough removed. I'll play 8, we can do it. And so Preston responded. He was like, I think you should play 8, but I think you might hate it. So, like, we'll see.
Get it out of the way.
And
don't let it sit there in the option of backlog. Like, just get out of the way, pull off the Band-Aid. If you don't like it, cool. Take it off the list.
Yeah. So I did that. And I played through the, let's call it, prologue, I suppose. I got all the way up until Squall graduates from the Seed program, which is a sentence I still don't even fully understand. And it was, and I'm sorry for any Final Fantasy VIII heads out there. That was the worst Final Fantasy I've ever played. Not even maybe just one of the worst like RPGs ever. The only joy I felt in that game was playing Triple Triad.
Worse than
Otherwise, 13? Yeah. I sat with this. I didn't say this when we were all on Discord when I was streaming it, but I did feel this emotion, and I was like, I need to sit with that hot take before I say it out loud, and I've sat with it long enough now that I feel confident in saying I would absolutely go back and play through all of 13 again before I ever touched Final Fantasy VIII.
I mean, at least 13 gave you a story out of the game.
So,
like,
and that's what I was going to get at, is that
at
at least in the introduction of Final Fantasy 13, I got a story that had lore bits that it wanted me to grab onto, that they found, like, and it was trying to make this world interesting and like build out what was happening and introduce you to these things, right? And to the point where, like, now I found almost all of those characters awful, but they still were there and tried to give them color and do things. Like, I think Lightning is one of the most unlikable protagonists maybe ever, but at least they were like, hey, her sister's in danger. She doesn't like her fucking boyfriend. I still remember plot points of that game. Even though I did not think they were very good, they at least were there and fleshed out. 8 just puts you in this game and just goes, fuck you. Like, I'm convinced that I either, in the remastered version that's on Steam, there's either like a manual that I was supposed to read ahead of time that gave me a breakdown of this game that I didn't that I didn't know, or that there was something in, like, they maybe cut out an intro cutscene or something that I don't know, because they give you this FMV video of Squall and a character you come to find later named Seifer fighting, and they're just sitting there fighting, and then it has random flashes between a woman character and then what you can only assume is the villain, who I have later found out is called the Sorceress, but it was never introduced to me in my time with the game. And it flashes between them randomly. Squall gets his face cut, and then you wake up in a hospital bed, and the game starts. And you're like, okay, that was crazy. That was a crazy event. What's going on there? The nurse then goes, damn, seems like you and Seifer were going at it hard again, huh? And Squall's like, yeah. And, like, very depressive about it. And you're like, okay, cool, right on. This is clearly, we're still in our emo boy era over at Square, right on. Okay. And because you see the same names with Katase and Nomura all in this game. You're like, yep, that's going to be a character with a lot of belts and depression. So right on, cool, I can deal with that. But so as the game goes on, I was like, surely I'm going to start getting more information. You find out, I was able to piece together. You don't find this out, the game doesn't tell you, but you start to like piece together, like, okay, I'm at a high school of sorts with teachers and principals and these things, but I live here, I have a dorm, and I'm training to be a mercenary for a company called Seed, but I think that's the company's name. I don't know, I'm assuming. And I'm like, and then they're like, you gotta go take your test. You run into this cave and fight Ifrit, and then Ifrit's like, yo, you're sick for a human, I'll join you. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, right on. Oh, and you also already had Shiva and what's the other one?
Quetzalcoatl.
It's a wind one. I don't know, but yeah, it was Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl. Yeah.
And you're like, so they're like, yeah, you already have those 2 summons though. Don't worry about those. You have those, and then you'll just go and fight Ifrit, and that'll be your test. And you're like, okay. So you do that. And they go, cool. Now you've got your real world exercise. There's a town being invaded by a foreign army. Go defend them. They've hired us. And it's like, oh, okay. And then you get there, you do that whole thing, and you never find out anything about that town, why there's a random military attacking, what's going on in this world that I need, that is necessitating this mercenary group anyway. You get back, you finish it, and they're like, you graduated, but Seifer didn't because he disobeyed orders. But even though you technically disobeyed those orders with him, you complained more, I guess. Like, you complained about having to disobey those orders, so we'll let you pass because you just, you did so good. It was like, but I did the same thing he did. We were basically there the entire time together. But, okay, I guess, right on, whatever. It's like, anyways, go sleep and you'll get ready for your next mission. And every character in this game, too, you can see just has, like, Kingdom Hearts-ness just all over them. And right after the graduation sequence, I still didn't have a lick of just lore at all as to, like, no hooks. Nothing had grabbed me that was like, yeah, I should be stoked about what's going on right now or feel anything. And all of that was bad. And the music was some of the worst music that I have ever heard in a Final Fantasy game, which is normally full of banger tracks. So I don't understand what happened. There was a point where I was in a battle, I got it, and the victory fanfare theme that should make every Final Fantasy fan sort of just like hum along and get nothing but good feelings was like the worst victory fanfare, to the point where muted, as it was happening, Alex goes, "That might be the worst one I've ever heard."
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
What about the magic system, like the
Jesus Christ, the junction system and the draw system, because it would be stupid to just have magic work like normal, where you just have MP to cast spells and then that's it. No. Magic is a consumable resource that I have to find and buy little charges of throughout the world. So then you're like, hey, you picked up 8 fires. Sick. Like, what the fuck? And then like you have to like slot them in to get different resistances or a tier attack, and then you have to add summons to your ability to be like, that gives you the bonus now. And I was just like, this is ass. Like, I was just not but I would have forgiven a shitty battle system, looking at you 13, if like a story could hook me, right? Like if you do something that makes me want to be there, then like I'll get through that. I can push through awful menus if like there's something of substance there. And there just, for me, there was not. I didn't get a single thing. So then I was like, fuck it. I'm done. I've spent enough time here. I feel like I gave it a fair shot. I'm going to Final Fantasy VI. Within 15 seconds of booting this game up, I was already given more lore than the entirety of my time with Final Fantasy VIII. The text scroll that happens at the beginning of this game gives you all the stuff about the War of the Magi, the current state of the world, all of the political wars that we're having between there, and you're just like, thank you.
The music sounded like it was recorded. The music sounded like it was newer than the music from 8. Like, the music in 6 was so good compared to the music in 8.
Yeah, it was incredible. So, and I'm playing the Pixel remastered version for those who are interested. It's been great so far. I'm not going to go too far into this. I just want to say I'm at like the 60-ish% mark, I believe.
You're far on that.
It is easily, I think. I understand why people think that this is their favorite one, for sure. Like, I'll get that out. But what I was going to say is, especially Alex, you are newly coming in to appreciating retro video games, and Preston, I know you have a ton of love for the Super Nintendo as a system.
I got a couple Final Fantasies on there.
6 is one of those that. So what I was going to say though is, this is easily the most impressive Super Nintendo game I have ever seen. Like, I'm talking more than any of the Mega Mans that are on that system, more than any of the Super Mario games, and like the stuff that they were doing in this game and making that possible on the Super Nintendo has consistently, moment to moment, broken my fucking brain. Like, there are moments that are almost like they trick it, but it treats it as like almost full 3D. Like, it is wild. Like, they are, I mean, like this close. Outside of like the pixel graphics, right? But like this close as far as the tech is concerned at getting to the PS1 style
7.
like big blocky textures. Like, they're that close. They're pushing it that hard. I'm surprised this game did not set Super Nintendos on fire. Like, that's straight up. That's how I feel about it. It's insane. And
they can put more processing stuff in the cartridge itself. So that's something that they can do to like improve. Like, they don't have to. They aren't completely limited to the system itself when it comes to something like Super Nintendo, because those cards you could actually enhance.
That's fair. Yeah, you can have the boards that do special things. Yeah, for sure. It's just been very impressive to play through. I've passed the remastered opera scene. So for those who don't know, there's a very cool scene that's like I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but it was all text before. They have gotten people to come in and actually record voice lines for this part to have the actual like opera part, and it was masterfully done. I thought it was so good. So that was really cool. Yeah, I thought every music track has been incredible. All of this stuff, and it's been doing the Lord's work so far. I've been very excited about it. Nice. The last thing that I'll touch on that I played is I went back to a game that I had forgot that I purchased. So I'll spare the details about how I remembered that I had this and got into it. But I went and played Guild Wars 2.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Random MMO, or people still? I mean, I assume people are still on that game.
Dude,
was it because the other podcast was talking about it?
No. So like I said, I was okay. I'll go very quickly. But I was trying to get into an old account that I had remembered that I had, not for Guild Wars but for something else. And when I was getting into that, I found an old email that was my account activation when I bought that game digitally from GameStop. And I was like, I wonder if this product key still works. Like, it has to. I'm sure it's still valid. So I went, downloaded the launcher, I entered in the old account, and then reset the password that got in. And then it asked for the the product key, and I was like, all right, let's see. Put it in, and it was like, it felt like the computer coughed a little bit, like
yeah,
like but then it found it and was like, yep.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming good. What happened is like you have the few people that are like still running the Guild Wars servers. They're like on their computers and they're on the new servers, and all of a sudden the red light kicks on the spinning disc server, and they look down the hallway. There's just a little like red glowing light from down there. It's like, did somebody just activate that?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, and it was so funny. I got in, it started installing, and then a window pops up, and it's like, you've been signed out. And I was like, oh, that's weird. I don't know why would I have been signed out. So I go, try it, and then it's like, your account has been locked for security reasons. And I was like, huh? Like, so...
Yeah, because the person walked down the hallway and just, like, turned off the server. I was like, this is a mistake.
Dude. So I messaged support, and I'm like, hey, it said my account was locked for security reasons. I was like, I know this sounds odd. But I'm being honest. I can try to provide whatever information you want. I was like, but I forgot that I had this game. I just recently stumbled upon it when I was looking for something else. I was like, so I was just trying to install it and play it and just kind of, I don't know. I was just going to try to see what was up. And guy goes, yo, yeah, it's just an automated thing that happens when your account has, I don't remember how many years he said, but it was how many years of inactivity. And they were like, and the last time it was logged in was in Central Illinois in the United States. And I was like, yep, yeah, that would actually be when the last time that this was even used. So that makes sense. And so then they unlocked it and let it go. And they were like, consider putting 2-factor on your account because then this won't happen again. Like, we won't lock it anymore because if you pass the 2FA, then we just let you in. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, sounds good. So set that up, did that, but then got back in, started playing. And I played like 3 hours of it.
Bro, only you would have stumbled across an email to an old game and pulled the thread long enough to play. Like, if that would have happened to me, if I found this old game and found a key code and it goes account's locked, it would have been like, okay, well, that just took care of itself. Yeah. And you move on, right?
Yeah, I know. But I got in. So this game has, I think, it has 5 expansions.
Wow. Okay.
And this is a model of MMO that does not exist anymore, for obvious reasons. But this is not a subscription model, but a buy-to-play model, where you buy the game and then you just get to play it.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. And it's interesting. Like, I'm I played know.
1, but I never picked up 2. But 2 had the dynamic events. That was like the big draw for that game.
Yeah, and those are still a thing. Like, it's still happening, and I wandered my way into a capital city, and there was a fuck ton of people there, and I was like, wow, that's wild. And I was like, but the game kind of assumes that if you're here, there's no way you're just like a new player, right? And so like, but because I bought the original version of the game, it had been giving me like founder rewards and like perks and stuff just like the entire time. So I boot the game up and it's like, yo, here's an extra bag, and here's like a bunch of extra currency things for the cosmetic shop, and here's a thing for saying thank you for year 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Like, it was all these things. I had a random message from a player from 13 years ago, and it just said ellipsis. That was it, just 3 dots. And I was like, and so, me, of course, Alec, to your point of, pulling a thread, I replied with 4 dots and sent that bad boy off, and just, we'll see. I don't know.
Come back
man.
to it 10 years later, see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find this. I'm gonna find this other perspective, like in a news article, right? In a gaming
somewhere,
article, like
where somebody feels like they're being hacked or something.
Yeah.
So the reason though that I thought it was an interesting thing was, and I've been waiting obviously for Alex to get on to us to go through the new 14 patch and all sorts of stuff, right? But I was like, I went through the newest 14 patch, and I have done part of the new Eureka style grind, like that same grind that Alex and I did ages ago to get to the Osmo mount. There's a new version of that here, and it was kind of the same thing, and it is as grindy as Eureka, which I know a lot of people are happy about. I don't know that I'm one of those people. Like, I am, and I'm not.
We did that stuff a while ago, and it still feels too soon.
Yes, but it's like, I know that people want something to sink their teeth into in that game, right? Like, I get it, right? Like, I do, because it does not feel good sometimes when there's just you if you log on to this game that you're paying monthly for, especially, and there's just like no carrot, I guess, right? Like, to keep you going. But I'm looking at the grind, and I've got even some of the currency still stuff for it, but like I don't have all of it, and obviously and part of it would be easier for me to go through if it was similar to Eureka if Alex and I were doing it together. But I was just like, fuck, man, I don't know, like, this is a big commitment, and there's a lot of games coming out, and I don't know.
That's why we do that game the way we do. That's why we hop on at one point in time when there's not a lot, and we do it together. We plow through it on weekends, and
we do big bursts, and then exactly.
That's why it happens that way.
And so, but it was interesting to go through Guild Wars 2 the amount that I did. I like I said, I played like 3 or 4 hours, because I was like, damn, there's just like all of this stuff here. Obviously, it's had, over a decade of, similar to 14, a decade worth of content. But it's like, I was going through it, and I was just like, damn, it's wild that, like, it feels like the ability, I don't know if this is the right way to say it. It feels like the ability to experience a non-shitty version of, like, WoW or something. Like a Western-ish designed MMO, like big sort of blocky, cartoon-ish designed characters and all these different things. But like, it's got a different sense of style. It does like the whole painting thing, the big world events that happen, and it's still, I mean, dude, within like, it was just probably the timing, but like within 3 minutes of me after creating this character, I'm like running around, I'm like, and the control system's weird too. There was a lot to try to get used to, but I'd like, okay, I'm messing around figuring out, and then this fucking big thing comes on the screen. It's like, fucking 3 minutes, there's gonna be a world event. And you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, dude. And like, you see people start moving their way. And then there's obviously like new characters that have been created that are there because they already have like 18 level max level whatevers, right? And so they're just like, oh, starting another one just to keep the grind going or whatever. And so you see people who are just like, you can already tell just by their movements, the things they're doing, that they are like min-maxing the fuck out of their experience or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you're just trying to walk around and be like, I feel like a toddler that does not know what is happening, like just trying to figure something out. And then I had a moment where I found one of the cost-saving methods that it seems like ArenaNet is doing for this game, in that if you are attached to a server, and so like one of their like mega servers things that they do, I guess, you're attached to that server, you're playing the game, you're doing your thing, and then either people log off or whatever, and then you are not, like that server becomes a low population, they will just straight up give you a warning and say, hey, you can either do this now or when we force you in, however many minutes or hours or whatever, but we're going to shut this server off and move you to a newer, like a higher populated one, so that you are around other people or whatever. So you want to do that now, or do you want us to wait? And it was like, okay, I'll do it now. So you do it, and then a loading screen pops up, and then poof, like all these people all of a sudden show up, and you can tell that it felt like all of these people got slammed into one room, and it was like, okay, cool, yeah, you guys stay there, we're going to shut all those other boxes off, because those are costing money, them running in the background. And
that's got to be people. Like, yeah, that's like the death throes of a game, right? That's just like, so barely
it's interesting
rolling.
Because it is this feeling, and that's kind of why I was like, I might fuck around with this more, but I haven't decided yet. But it's this feeling of like, you are watching a game that tried to position itself as the MMO that you just get to buy and play, like a normal video game, right? Mm-hmm. And not have to pay a subscription service for, but also didn't go free to play and introduce like all of the microtransactions that come with that, right? So it's like, it's just a regular video game. You buy it and play it, and they were just hoping that enough people would stick around or buy the random cosmetic that comes out, but stick around and pay for an expansion, and then they get a new influx of cash, and that will fund the next expansion, and then that just keep going until they make Guild Wars 3 or whatever that looks like, right? But you can tell that the popularity of Guild Wars 1 obviously there was a big jump that went to 2, right? Like there was, yeah. I remember hearing about Guild Wars being like, yo, this could be something. And then when 2 popped off, I remember a lot of people went and got it, right?
My roommate and I in college played Guild Wars 1.
Right. Mm-hmm. So like, it was this thing though, where I think you're watching a game that created a model and got actually pretty successful with it, to the point where it was able to launch a second game, like a bigger, more impressive game. And then they found out what critical mass was for that model and have been slowly dying since then. And it does feel like there was moments when I was playing through where I'm like, we could be months or days from a shutdown email.
Well, and like at HQ, the people running the servers, that's what they do. They consolidate everybody, and then they go home for the night, right? And that's it. And they're like, these 3 servers will run all night, and they'll keep our population going, and we'll come back in the morning, we'll activate more when people log on. But also, if something were to happen over the night, I bet you that game shuts down. Like there's no one there to fix it until morning.
And it's interesting because we're also talking about this game in a way that's like, it must be content dead, but it had an expansion that launched last year.
Crazy.
And it was just like, wow. But the expansion is also like, I think when I looked it up, it was like $40 or something. And I'm like, oh dude, Jesus Christ, that's fucking steep. Like, but then you're like, oh, but there's no subscription cost to it. But then it's like, not saying that I was actually considering it, but I just mean like in a way that you're like, the people who are in there are clearly going to be the ones that are buying it. But you're also, how are you? I haven't seen a lick of advertising or anything to try to get people to come back to get into Guild Wars, right? Like, or do anything. And so it must be like they must have enough money that they make off of the core group of players that still play that game, that just is able to fund whatever the, like, I'm assuming, like, sort of bare minimum sort of development is, right? But, like, no marketing, no trailer pushes, nothing. Like, it must, because any of the trade shows that we watched all together, did you guys ever see a trailer for the Guild Wars 2? Of course you didn't, because I don't even think a trailer for it existed outside of the one they probably posted directly to the ArenaNet like YouTube channel, and then that was it.
Everything in there right now is 50% off, so you get the entire collection and all the seasons for $50 of every expansion right now.
I don't know, man. It's which is probably what they're doing to try to get people to come in, right? Like, oh, I've heard about this, maybe I'll try it, blah blah. But man, I don't know. It was just interesting. It was a weird experiment that happened that I was sitting there. I just, and obviously I just went back to playing Final Fantasy VI. But
I'm gonna make a judgment call right now, but I think they definitely are catering to a specific audience, and one that's probably, even though a Western RPG, probably more of an Asian dominated audience, just based on their website's graphics and the heroes they show. So for instance, like, they have this thing right now that says Guild Wars 20th anniversary. The anniversary masterpiece collection is a bunch of cosmetics, and there's like 5 cosmetics, and every one of them are gorgeous females with a lot of skin. I don't know, yeah. Right? So like, I bet you
I don't know where ArenaNet's based out of. I'm not sure.
Sure, but I bet you, to your point, it's if you're in a place where you don't have a lot of disposable income, you buy it, you play it, right? Like, it's free to play.
Yeah.
And you can play for as long as you want. There's a lot of content, it seems like. So
I don't know. Crazy. It was interesting.
You could have given us a million guesses. I would have never once guessed.
I know. That's why I didn't say anything about it, and I was just kind of excited to bring it up. But it was an experiment that happened that I just it kind of felt like, those times where you see videos of people like propping up old private servers for games that have been dead for a really long time. Like, I remember I told you guys when I figured out a way to fuck around with the PS3 to get it to connect to a private Resistance 1 server, right? To play like online Resistance 1, right?
Yeah.
It was a moment like that where you're just like, damn, this is a thing that I have not seen in a long time. Like, it just feels like walking through like I don't know, like a ghost town isn't the right way to say it, because there was people there, but it just, I don't know. It feels like the death throes kind of a thing. It is kind of what it felt like. It was weird though, but it was interesting.
Funny. All right. Preston?
Yep. So, like I mentioned before, I finished Expedition 33. So, fantastic game. If you want to, continue on to the rest of this podcast, where I will dump what we talked about in the beginning, so that way the spoilers at the end. Yeah, great game. 5 out of 5. It's probably going to be this year's game of the year. I played some more Star Wars: The Old Republic. That Star Wars Sunday was a little bit of a rough one. I wake up, I go to get in there, server's down. Only my server
I watched you. I couldn't talk, so I don't know if you were talking to me, but I was watching you for a long time trying to figure this out.
No, I tend to talk to myself because I know it's going to be a VOD later on. That way, if someone is watching and not talking, they can at least have some conversation with me.
Sure.
But yeah, the server was down, so I'm trying to go through. I'm like, what game am I going to play? I'm like, all right, well, let's download Pod Racer. Let's get some laps in. That game, by default, is not mapped well for controller. So we decided to go away from that. We'll go back at that at a later date, and obviously I'll get a controller mod or something like that to get that to work when I do play it. Booted up Shadows of the Empire for the PC. That game is also a little rough with controller on the PC. We did play a little bit more of that. That one I actually got a little more into. Apparently, I was muted for a good chunk of it. One of the regulars came in, and he's like, "Hey, Preston, what's up?" He's like, "By the way, your game audio is muted." I'm like, cool. It's like 30 minutes ago when they had the fucking opening scroll for like fucking Star Wars, the fanfare. I'm like, let's just mute that for a little bit, so that way, just one less thing to get copyright strike on. And I forgot to unmute it. So most of that. So I'm like, we're not going to publish this. We're not going to do that. I finish the stream, go down, sit down, take a shit. I'm looking, server's back up. I'm like, fuck. Like, you know what? I can do another hour of this. Let's run over there real quick. I started the stream back up. We did play an hour extra. I got to finish up the Planet Quest, and that was nice. So we'll be going to Hoth next week. So I'm excited about that. And then I played one more game. So I have booted up and started Cyberpunk 2077.
All right.
Been wanting to play it for a while. I like the style.
What are you playing it on?
What's that?
What are you playing it on?
PC. So I played most of the introduction through there, and then like last night I was like, I got about an hour or so. I'm like, let's just see how this runs on Steam Deck. It runs really well on Steam Deck, surprisingly enough. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have any much problems with it. All I'll say is that the game so far is running well for me, except for one spot. So, like most games that are open world and you got a car, you got a little button on the D-pad to call your car. The first time is an introduction. You're talking to this guy named Jackie. He's really cool. I remember him from when I played it originally. And he's like, "This is how you call your car."
Wait, hold on, really quick. Give us your starter. What was your background? What did you choose?
Street kid, street rat, or whatever it is.
What did you choose, Christian?
My man.
You did street. I did corpo.
Did you?
When I did it.
Yeah. Dude, I was this close to going like hillbilly or whatever they have, like the Outlanders or whatever. Nomad. Yeah. I was wanting to do that a little bit. I heard Alana's got a voice in that over there, and I just thought like,
she does.
I would be like, hey, I come from the country. It might be a little fun to start in the country. I'm like, yeah, but you're not like in the city. Like if I'm gonna play Cyberpunk, I want to be like, in the city. So I'm
no matter what, you get there.
I'm sure you get there. Yeah, I'm sure it all converges sooner or later. But like I'm like, it's like I feel like probably this is the better bet for me. So I chose the street kid, and I have a lot of fun with it. So you get to the point to where you finally get the car. Jackie tells you, just press the D-pad to call your car, and you can kind of see it come in the distance. Cool, it's coming. All right. Do that mission, whatever. We go do what we got to do. And then I go on to the next mission. Like, I want to get my car. Hit the D-pad button. The car falls from the sky. Hits like two people. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just move the car out of the way. I go to get in the car, and it's stuck on like this riser or this like barricade. So like, I can't call my car. And guess what? You can't just press the button again to recall your car because your car's already there. So it's just going to stay there. So I run like a couple blocks, which isn't bad. I'm taking in the city. Hey, they did a really good job with that city. There's shit going on all over the place. People talking. Like, it looks fantastic. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I'm like, I don't mind walking 5 blocks just so I can call my car again. And then it came in just fine. But I thought that was a really funny part.
Now, Preston,
like, the second time I call my fucking car, it drops from the fucking sky, kills people, and gets stuck. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this game is like 5 years old now. What the fuck is wrong with it?
Preston, I think that's unfair because you are describing a game that has no bugs.
I know.
Is completely finished.
So many people play this
and
game.
Has no issues.
It's my fault.
I'm
my
surprised.
fault that 2070 Super I'm running.
It is.
It's just my fault.
I think so. I think that it is your fault that it had to have been something you did that made that car do that.
I bet.
Yeah. It's certainly not a single bug that I experienced.
No. Yeah. That's fine. But no, it's. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the world building I'm having right now. I have a feeling it's gonna be some janky shit. I was really pissed off. I'm probably gonna turn back, at least on my Steam Deck. I'm gonna turn back on the auto record because I was really upset that I didn't get to capture that. I took a photo of it, so I'll put the photo here. So everyone can see what my car looks like and the position it was put into. But
now, Preston, I will tell you, don't worry. You will assuredly
have more
run into it again.
Have more moments.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they did a great job making that city feel like a real city.
Oh, yeah.
Unlike other games,
super lived in.
Like because there's verticality to it. You can go
Grand Theft Auto. There's people are walking around all the time. They're not really doing much. But like with this, people are sitting down. They're playing a game with something. They're having a conversation about some other shit. Like it's a very, very lived in world. It's very well done.
But it does make it. Just be prepared when everything's clicking. Like you have side missions, you have stuff to collect. Like it makes it a bit overwhelming.
Oh, I'm gonna mostly mainline it probably. Like I'll do some side missions here and there, but I'm mostly gonna mainline it.
Yeah. Here's how I'll tell you, Alex, that you don't have to worry about Preston in that regard. My man finished Final Fantasy VII Rebirth 60 hours faster than most other people.
You don't have to worry about me.
He's gonna be all right in side.
You don't worry about me.
He's gonna be all right.
I don't have a problem with side quests.
Yeah.
I go Maj. I go Maj side quests like nobody's business.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But yeah, it's a good one. I'm starting that one up. Excited to get into that more. I just haven't had a whole lot of time recently. I watched 2 things. So Ironheart dropped the first 3 episodes. It's incredible. Yeah. It's really good.
It's
done very well. Yes.
Okay.
There is I'm not going to spoil what it is, but there's an AI that she creates. It kind of almost has the kind of same feeling that we've had a little bit with Expedition about what she needs to do with this. So I highly recommend watching it. It's really, really good. Very heartfelt, very well done. CG doesn't look bad. It looks fine. I mean, I guess nowadays I'm just like, if it's going to be Marvel TV, I'm going to sit here and not expect like the world of it, but it did look good. I enjoyed it. She's going back to Chicago, hanging out with her family. It's a good time. I like seeing it. So I think they're doing very well with it. And the girl who plays Riri is phenomenal. She does an incredible job. She was great in Black Panther 2. I think she's great in this too as well. So I'm glad she got her own show. Very happy about that. It actually happened and didn't get canceled. Lastly, Alex, do you remember the movie you said that Tomb Raider was inspired by? Do you remember the weird
Indiana
one?
Jones? Tank Girl? Did you go watch Tank Girl?
No, I've seen Tank Girl.
Oh, okay. What was the third one? I forget. There were 3. There was Indiana Jones, Tank Girl. What was the other? Oh yeah. Where he's the guy's holding
hard boiled.
You would.
I'm like let's see what this goes. It's not on any like streaming service like that you pay for.
Color me surprised. Who could have seen that
coming?
And funny enough, I went to like, okay, I'm gonna go to my Fandango/Voodoo account real quick. So I did that, and it has down underneath there recently, not released, but like new editions, and Hard Boiled was there front and center. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay. Like I just have to go ahead and get this. It's a John Woo movie, so I didn't mind. Let's see here. Just check something out real quick. Yeah, 1992. Let's see here. Yeah, it stars Chow Yun-fat. So it's got him chewing the fat, if you will, the entire time. He's got like a little toothpick or whatever in his mouth. He's not goofy, but he does very well he does very good acting. But here's a problem with this movie. This movie's old enough to where there's not like options. So the only version that I get is English dub. When's the last time you guys seen a foreign film that was English dub?
Yeah.
Live action.
Yeah.
If you can remember, they're bad. They're real bad. And there's just... I'm sure that some of it might have been lost in translation, but like some of those voice actors, man, the way that some lines hit, it's kind of funny and kind of bad at the same time. Action in it is a lot of fun. It's John Woo movie, so people are fucking flying forward with guns in their hands, sliding around places. It's 100% a John Woo movie for sure. I didn't think it was bad. It's pretty good. The baby thing doesn't even happen until the very end of the movie. He's saving the last baby in this hospital that's exploding because the arms dealers put their fucking stash in the bottom, and their cops are trying to get it. Because of course John Woo plays a detective. But yeah, it's a fun movie. If you guys want to borrow my Voodoo account to watch it, I would say go for it. But other than that, you're fine.
No, you're fine.
You're fine passing on it. But I didn't completely hate it. I had a fun time with it. So I did watch that one. I'm like, yeah, like Alex said, they watched that movie, and that's a John Woo movie I haven't seen yet. I'll go ahead and just fire it up.
I don't think Alex said to watch that.
No, you didn't say to watch it. But it was. I've
fair,
enjoyed John Woo movies. I haven't seen this one. I'm like,
there is on this podcast, there is no one who is allowed to be even a little bit snarky about watching shitty movies. Less than Alex. No. Stop it. You might as well have said watch it because you... I know I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying him being like, I don't think I said watch it. You might as well have, because you would have done the exact same thing.
You knew what you would do
if the role was reversed. If Preston was doing this...
if there were a free... If I was on something and an algorithm was like, hey, it's here, bam, it's in your face, like, watch it, because your device know everything about you. Yeah, I would have probably. Sure.
See, exactly. Yeah. So don't.
I may have been looking around to find out where Craven was playing. I couldn't figure it out, so I let that go. I let that one go. I didn't watch Craven. Yeah, that's my week. Big podcast.
All right. Long podcast. With a lot of stuff to talk about.
Right now, we will transition to the spoiler version of Expedition 33 that we talked about at the beginning of the episode that I want to leave in the beginning. So, going to there. All right, everyone. Here it is. The full spoilers for Clair Obscur, Expedition 33. We're going to be doing the ending, final decision, some little spoilers in between, all of it. So, starting spoilers in 3, 2, 1, go. But yeah, I finished Clair Obscur, and I have been getting decision shaming for like the past week. The most I've ever seen in my entire life. So Alex is real lucky that I love him and that he is an old friend of mine, because I would have deleted his phone number, blocked it, and would have wiped him off of my existence. I would have unpainted him, if you will. So
you would have gomaged him.
I would have fucking gomaged the shit out of Alex. He would have no longer existed to me. But he is my friend, and I know he's got a bit going. But yeah.
What you don't know is that in the background, Christian texted me as soon as you shared what happened, and he said, "We're gonna have to kill him."
Oh, I'm sure. No, I'm sure. Now, here's the thing. Christian takes the bit a little bit, but then Alex... Let's give us a little bit of disclosure. Okay, so Expedition 33 is a fantastic fucking game. I finished it finally. It's phenomenal. At the very end of the game, there's 2 decisions.
Good and bad.
Well, they don't say that good or bad. There's not like a little, hey, there's a little blue dot next to this one, a little red dot next to this one. We'll fucking get into it.
True.
Give us a minute.
That's true.
But I chose a decision that these 2 did not choose. Okay? And then for spoiling it, there is a decision to either choose Mayo or choose Verso as far as what you're going to do at the end. We'll get into a little bit more of what that is. But yes, I told them what I did. Because I got to it, I'm like, man, I've never sat on a decision so long in a video game ever. Like, I got a hard time deciding. Sat there and toiled, and I decided to choose Mayo. I have my reasons. We'll get into. But
Christian,
when I go into the text, I let them know, and there's like, I'm typing out like a paragraph or 2 because I want to let them know why I chose this, because I had to make a real hard decision. I'm like, okay, I'm going to explain myself, and Christian's like, you're taking too long. Preston, you're taking too long. You have to answer. And I answered, and then that's when everyone came at me pretty hard, and they changed the name of the text group. Changed the image. No, I'm sorry. Alex changed the name of the text group and the image of it, and has continuously ignored me and shamed me for the past week.
I told Christian I wasn't going to talk directly to Preston in that chat until we had a chance to get on this podcast.
Mm-hmm. And if you notice, Preston, you'll be able to look at the exact moment he told me that, because if you scroll up into the group chat, there's a moment where I said, I feel like we need to have an emergency podcast right now. Because I was like, in my house, like, this bit has to end quick. Yeah. I was like, because this is so... And then Alex, fucking earlier in the week, was like, hey, guys, would we be cool with a Thursday recording day? And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is going to go on for so long.
So Christian and I, we talked deeply about that ending when it happened. And Christian was straight up like, I mean, whoever chooses the other option is a sociopath. Like, they're a psychopath. Sure. They have to be stopped.
Explain the decisions to the listeners so that they know what's going on.
I will, but before I do, I actually want to make the comment. I believe the exact words Christians used were at one point, whoever chooses Mael are the people that would think that
I did
Hawk
say this.
did nothing wrong.
Who?
No, Griffith.
Or no, Griffith did nothing wrong. So
remind me.
Yeah.
It's Berserk.
So Griffith is a Berserk villain who there is I want to say the word meme as in like that it's like, you know, people think it's funny. It's not. But there are people who will go out onto like message boards about Berserk or something like that, and they'll be like, you know, actually Griffith kind of did like nothing wrong, and you're like, put that person in a watch list, because like I know that you haven't read Berserk, Preston, but genuinely,
I'm sure it's a really bad thing that happened, and there's no way that anyone would
it's not as
be on his side.
Yes, I was obviously being facetious about it. It is not. It is not close to the decision that happens.
No, and I mean, like, don't get me wrong. At the end of my decision, like, even like the cutscene they show, like, I obviously was wrong in that decision.
I was gonna say, that being said, at the end of Mael's ending, I think there's no one who can walk away from that and be like
thinking that's a good ending. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it. Everything will get changed back tonight to the normal.
I appreciate it. My self-esteem is gonna feel a lot better now.
You just be All I'm going to say is you're lucky the new operating system isn't out, because you can put custom theme wallpapers to the entire chat.
Oh.
And boy, I would have put something on there. But yeah, everything would change back tonight.
Explain the ending.
So yeah, so we'll get there here in a bit. I just it needed to be said that Preston chose the wrong decision. And we'll talk about why.
I never chose the wrong decision, but I feel that when I made the decision, it wasn't a bad decision when I made it. Now, what that character did with that decision is bad. It's a real bad decision, but I have my reasons.
I still think it is. I understand what you mean. I do understand how you. I think the developers want you to have. Are we going to do it? Are we just going to talk about it now?
No, we have to do it now. We just said we have to do it now.
Yeah.
Everything said the name. So like,
I think the developers.
I think we need to explain the decisions a little bit more too.
So
yeah.
So the real quick, there are two decisions at the end of this game, where I understand why it's hard, because Mael is a character you've been with since minute one. She's the very first character in this game you meet past the protagonist, right? Yeah. So you spend a lot of time learning more about her and learning more about her life and her past, which she doesn't know about, so you all kind of find out about her past together. And then you have Verso. Verso comes along later, but you find out some things about Verso that ties he and Mael in really unique ways. And the decision at the end of this game is basically a part of Verso's soul is holding on to the world that you're in. Like, it's crafting and keeping up this world that you're all experiencing. It's
doing that phrasing of like every artist leaves a little bit of their soul on all the work that they kind of do. That kind of metaphor, yeah.
And Verso says essentially, please God, oh God, please kill me. Let me die, please let this end. And Mael is like, I just learned about family, and this is the family that I've had, and I haven't lived very long. You know, I'm 16 or something in the game.
He took away my memories. He lied to me the entire game.
I want to live now that I have this family. We could all be happy together. And those are the two choices you have.
Otherwise, she goes back to the real world where she is all burnt up and has no voice and no brother.
Now, to be clear, yes, because it should be mentioned there too that Verso and Mael are brothers, but the Verso that you meet in the painting is not real Verso. Verso has been dead.
Yes, he is the manifestation through the mother who created him because
of her grief, and painted a version of him with his memories attached to him.
Yeah.
We're doing a good job at explaining it. We're not doing a good job at selling it. It's an amazing story. You should play it.
No, it's an incredible story. 100%.
Honestly, if you want to hear us talk more, it's going to come up during the Game of the Year discussion.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk even more about the Game of the Year. But the ending is pretty much the thing we want to talk about today.
Yeah, and those are those two choices. So again, like, I understand why it took me a second, like more than it took me longer than going, yep, that's the right decision. It took me like 10 seconds.
Bad ending, good ending.
I actually had a different experience. So for me, I knew that I wasn't going to side with Mael at a very specific moment. Do you guys remember the mission that you do? So like the S-Link missions basically, but there's the mission where Verso takes Mael to the tower, like the big tall, and you climb through that whole area, and then you find Alicia up there, the painted version of Mael essentially. Alicia is up there, and she is ready to go. Like, she decides that it's time. She doesn't want to be a part of. She doesn't want to be a part of this fake world anymore. She's like, I'm ready to move on. I'm not even my own person. Like, I'm painted after another person. Yeah. And so it's this whole thing, right? So time is stopped in this moment. Mael acknowledges her ask and wipes her off the face of the planet, essentially, right? Like, she's gone now. Gone. Time comes back in. She looks Verso dead in his eyes and goes, your sister, who I know that I'm technically your sister, but your actual sister who you grew up with in this world that you were painted to grow up with, I've just murdered her. And I did it because she asked. And he says, the bare minimum, why could... So first he goes, I wish I could have talked to her.
Wanted to say goodbye.
To her. No. Goodbye comes later. He first says, I could have convinced her
out of it.
I could have talked her out of it. And she goes, that's not... You can't do that. Like, it's not your choice to make. And he goes, at the bare minimum, you should have just let me say goodbye. And she goes, and then she's like, basically, too bad, so sad.
She apologizes for saying, like, yes, I should have let you say goodbye, but yeah.
No, she says that later at the camp. No, but sure. In that moment, she basically says, go fuck yourself. Like, she was like, look, I did what she asked me to do. Get over it. Yeah. And Verso has this look at her like somebody who looks at a supervillain after they've murdered. Like, honestly, this part's no bullshit. It is the same look that Guts gives Griffith when he's doing his crime. Like, and it is that same look. And I was like, oh, you are currently playing God, and you are drunk on power. Like, that is how that scene comes off to me. Whether that's not it's intended or whatever, that's how it comes off to me. Like, it was literally like, you believe yourself now currently with your new awakened painter powers and everything else, that you are some benevolent fucking being that is going to go through and just fix these things and make your perfect little playground with all of your perfect little pieces. And I was like, you are fucking delusional. Like, I was so done from that moment. So then when the moment came, I was like, oh, what you got coming. Like, because then,
not to mention, if Verso is asking for it, then she should be able to give it to him, right? Because she did it for her painted version. Why wouldn't she do it for Verso outside of the
And the thing is she even said, she was like, she tries to bargain with him at the end when you find real Verso as a boy who, because that part of his soul was when he was a child and he created this world, right? So he's still stuck here. A part of his soul is still stuck here, basically feeding the life energy of this plane of existence, really. And I think the hard part becomes like, okay, I understand where people's initial thing is. It's like, okay, cool, these are real people. These are real people who feel things, who have been created. They live in this world, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
This is how I read it. The implication to me about these painted worlds is that because they are manifestations of the painters and these skills and everything like that, there's nothing stopping you from just repainting these people in a different canvas. And the reason I think
that was my thing at the very end, where it's like, okay, the Verso one's really good because Mael, she'll get her own painting, or she'll make her own paintings, and she can bring those people into it who wanted to stay and be alive. She can bring those people into her painting in her world.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, right? And the reason I think that, though, is because, so all those people that got gommaged, right? They all get smoked. In Mael's ending, she brings them all back.
Yeah. Gustav, and the baby that wasn't even born.
Correct.
Like, everybody.
And everybody's like, woo! Like, everybody's all cool. They have no issues. Everything's fine, right? So clearly, all that stuff persists then. Like, as long as you have it in your head, you can bring these people back exactly like they were. Because, and at the end of the day,
you don't need his painting to do so.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, your existence as a painted person or whatever is limited by the fact if there is somebody alive who is feeding like real world energy into this painting, right? So in that example, it's like, okay, well, my world is gonna die. Like, I'm gonna get gommaged. My world's gonna die either today or in
whenever
let's call it 15 years, whenever which one of them dies, right? Because they don't have that long. They can't. You're not supposed to be in the painting that long.
They're not going to live their entire life in that painting. They're going to die due to the stress and whatever's taking.
And if I were to tell those people, especially the people that were fighting this long, that your existence is being bought and paid for at the expense of another living person right now, then, like, I don't think that there's a lot of people, especially if you know already that you've got a time limit anyway. Like, this whole thing that you've been fighting against with the gommage, everything you've been fighting against, then you're just going to be losing a little bit anyway. So it's like, for me, I was like, no, it is you have you are punishing this last piece of this soul of this person, and basically damning them to a never-ending purgatory, so that you don't have to deal with the loss of a family member, which I know sucks, right? Like, that does suck.
Sure,
It's hard. Everybody knows, right? Like, and that's why I think the game is so powerful, is that it is about grief and acceptance and all these other different things. But at the end of it, I was like, you get your fucking ass out of this painting, and you go. It's time to put on your big girl pants.
Well,
you need to go deal with that.
The problem too for Mael is the fact that, like, you know, outside in the world.
I'm gonna crack my door really quick. Hold on.
You're good. Outside in the world is the reason she's having such a hard time getting over it. What happened to her brother is, like, she feels a little bit responsible, but also, like, her mom has gone into this painting and trapped herself there and refuses to come out. And her dad is in there trying to fight to get the mom out, but they're kind of fighting each other. And her sister is like, well, I'm going to get revenge on the people that did this in the real world, so I'm out and about. So, like, the whole thing is, like, the family itself is separated, where if the family itself comes together and at the end they you know, kind of show them come together, well, then they're able to move beyond this and actually start to heal together, right? They did an amazing job, too, with the good ending. Christian, to your point of the acceptance piece of giving you all these, like, terribly upsetting goodbyes to all the characters you've gotten to know.
Lune's one,
right?
She's, like, sitting outside the portal, just, like, staring at you, like, fucking do it. Just go ahead. I'm gonna be right fucking here, staring you in the face.
What's his name? Sori is so good, right? When he, like, comes in and says, when he says bye to not to Gustav, but to Verso, like, the creature that's created.
Minoko?
You know? Or, sorry, Minoko. Sorry,
okay.
Sori is his little rock. Minoko.
No.
No, that's Eske. You're thinking of Eske.
Eskie is the one who has the rock. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm confused.
Sorry, Sori is the little rock. Eskie is so good. Like, just even that, you spend all this time with these characters, and the S-Links actually are a very small part of that game. Like, you don't spend too much time
outside of my elves.
It is and it isn't, right? Like,
but, like, yeah,
right,
like, to me,
but even that,
it is a small part in that it's like, you know, it never really gets brought up that much. But I think it's a massive part also because, God, dude, when you finish those, the story beats you get from those are
the one that hit me the most was Sion's
and
the Eske scenario, to where, like, Eske saved her from committing suicide. Like, dude, I fucking died. Like, that was the one that hit me
Not only that, but it throws you all the way back to the beginning, right, where Eske is like, you know, hey, Mon Ami, or whatever, and she's like, what's up? Like, and is, like, super cool with it.
The bad
and
swimmer.
They're like, everybody looks at her and goes, CL, like, what are you doing? She's like, I don't know, I just, for some reason, like, he feels like he's friendly. And then he's like, oh yeah, you're the one who can't swim. And she's like, huh? And then then it cuts to, and you're like, now, there's little things here like that, like, I don't want to spoil right now. I think people should go, but there's foreshadowing like that I think is just, it's so masterfully done, and it brings all those things back. And even to your point, Alex, about the fire that was created, right? I don't want to dig too much into that because, again, that's another twist that I think people should find on their own.
Well,
but,
this
like,
is a spoiler part of it. Yeah, we're fine.
I know, but, like, we're not going to do the whole video game. Like, we can say that.
When we tell them spoilers, they're not going to listen to it. So,
but, like, the whole thing with the other faction that
the writers
caused Mael to be able to do that and all that other stuff. Dude, I was like, I thought even something like that was such a good way to do that, because you, in a lot of games, that would be, for instance, actually somebody who we were just talking about last week, in a Kojima game, that would be the time where I get a 2.5 hour long cutscene that explains everything else, like everything to know about that faction, why they're a problem, where they're coming from, whatever, and you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is way bigger than I thought it would be. They actually give you the bare minimum amount of information that you
know they exist.
To be able to understand what happened, and you're like, oh, okay, and they're like, yep, cool, don't worry, like that's what you need to know right now. But it's just enough that it answers the questions that you have inside the story, but leaves you wondering more, like, for whatever a sequel might be, or DLC, or whatever, you go, oh, dude, and especially when you find out, obviously, their other sibling, right? I forget her name now. But Mael and Marcel.
Clea,
Clea, thank you, absolutely, yep, Clea. when you find out that she's fighting a solo war, basically, while her family's inside their houses being fucking morons, and she's out there solo doling this fucking entire conflict, you're like, yo, I want to play that game. Whatever that game is,
what the next
that's
game
what
is,
I want to play. Yeah, like, and dude, it was just, that game is...
I really liked the acceptance speech, just the ending when you realize it's time for things to end was so masterfully done.
And you get the force ghosts of everybody right at the very end too, which is send off.
Yeah, with every character, and I agree. Like Lune just kind of like sitting down. She's like, no, like no, I don't want to. Right, like whatever, just do it. It was so well done. On the flip side, Preston's ending turned into an absolute horror show
nightmare. Like so, here's what I kind of noticed. Everything is kind of like unsaturated when they're showing everything off. And I see Sion with like the husband and the baby. I'm like, the baby part's kind of weird. And then I see Gustav, and for a minute I'm like, hey, they brought Gustav back. And then give it a couple seconds later, I'm like, I don't like this. This does not feel okay that Gustav is back here. Like it feels like it was all for naught now. And then Verso comes up to piano. I'm like, oh, Verso's gonna be able to play the piano. And his fucking face, and I'm like, oh my god, this is a fucking.
You can tell he's essentially a prisoner of Mael, and it's just like out there
and then
playing
doesn't do anything.
piano for them every night.
He just sits there. No music playing. No music playing. Everyone's staring at Mael, and then all of a sudden
and all the color fades out.
Yeah.
All the color fades out, and it's all black and white, and you're like, and this is what I said to you, Preston, is I said there's that moment in that end of that ending that I was like, this plays like a fucking horror movie.
100%.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Like I felt the same. I felt the same sense of dread that I felt when I watched Shutter Island for the first time, like at the end of Shutter Island, where I was like, oh, you are just like out to your point, you're just locked in here. You are a prisoner. Like, and there's nothing you can do. You are fucking stuck until this child decides that she's had enough of torture.
Incredibly selfish decision. Now, that being said, I was going through it, I was making my decision, like, well, like, it's his decision. He should be able to choose whether the painting stays or not, even though he's a painted version of it. Like, obviously, he's also talking to the painted, like, non-painted version, the sold version of it, and they're both kind of like, yeah, we're done. And Miles like, no. And part of me was like, well, this is an entire existence of people. And I'm not thinking at this point, oh, she can just repaint them later on in her own painting. I'm not thinking that. I'm like, no, I mean, like, a fraction of a soul, and it's gonna, like, he's not gonna be there forever, right? Because as soon as Mael dies, that's when the father would come in and fucking wipe out the painting at that point. So, yes, it's a torturous life, and that is not a good decision, but I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about saving an entire existence, like, giant part of people. That's, like, you're technically committing genocide. Like, if you believe these people are real, which I do, like, they are real people. They were made, they lived lives, they are on a different plane of existence. Like, if God came down, or Jesus came back in, he's like, hey, actually, you're imaginary, and we're just going to wipe all this because, my son over here is, having a bad time with it. So I'm like, no, fuck you. If it was me, I'm like, fuck you. But I just couldn't let it go. I mean, that's the whole grief story thing, is like, you can't just let it go. And then the more I thought about it, it's like, you guys are 100% right. And also, not to mention, the mom came back in. My mom came back in, like, immediately after she was taken out to fight, like, the tall, kaiju
She found
version.
it again. Yeah, she found where it was.
She came back in there. Nothing is going to stop her from coming back in again. Like, mom is going to die because she will not stop coming back to this painting as long as it still exists. So, and like I said, Mael can just easily have a new painting of her own, have all the characters that she wants in there. They can all have a good time. Obviously, minus Verso probably, but other than that, it's a bad. But yeah, I just didn't want to go with those characters, man. I played 40 hours of sitting there this whole expedition. We're doing it. We're gonna save everybody. You get to the end, it's like, do you want to save them or not? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to save them. What do you think I've been doing the past 40 hours? And I got all these things. Fucking SK made me cry when I found out about the whole Sion and the fucking suicide thing. Like, fucking, I'm distraught here. Like, no, like, I love these people. A little fragment of a boy can, like, fucking sit there for another 30 years. It's fine. Yeah. But in the end, it wouldn't have been worth it, and it would have been.
Oh, that is a horrific sentence.
I know.
Oh my god.
One of the best.
But, like, sacrifice one for a million, right? It's like, what are you gonna do?
No, but the thing is again, like.
But it wasn't a million. It was just this one town. It was like 55 people.
No, you have a whole existence of all the little brush-headed people, and then like you have other races there. Like, but you are committing genocide to the whole fucking brush people.
But you're not. You're not though, because they can just come back.
And I wasn't thinking about that when I saw the decision.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that decision wasn't on the timer, but it wouldn't have mattered. I probably would have chosen the anyways. But yeah, it's a lot.
I don't know if you guys found it too. My favorite part about that game is like finding other expeditions. Like,
oh yeah, those are good. Yeah.
And when you make it back to your starting area, when you're going to the final boss, there's one right like when you come up to the dock and you run up a little bit, you can run to the right and you find one of the expeditions, and it's an expedition that talks about how they were essentially they were warriors.
Oh, this is my favorite one. Yeah, they're naked.
And they just
Expedition 60. It's the best.
They just got super bulked up and like amped up, and they stripped down naked, and they did make it, but they were trying to get back to land like before the gomage happened or whatever, and just they made it to the top.
No.
They decided
all of them
not
stayed
to
behind.
kill Paintress.
One person tried to come back.
Tried to swim back and got almost all the way back until he got to the waterfall, and then was trying to climb his way up, and then that's where you find the notebook. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys all imagine in your head JoJo characters? Because that's what I imagined.
Yes.
No, so
100%.
The guy with the mustache from Full Metal Alchemist, the guy with the
also a good one.
That's who I thought. That's who I thought was the last person
also
saying. He's like, we're so buff and crazy, we're the best. And then it's like they go all the way out there to find out that how fucked up this world is, and they're like, no, we can't defeat the Paintress. They go back. I'm like, god damn, that was good. Yeah, there's so many of those expeditions that are just great. I didn't get all of them, but yeah, they were all so very, very good.
I didn't get all of them. I got a majority, but yeah,
Alex,
not all.
I really want you to answer me this truthfully, okay? After you got the decision, did you do any cleanup afterwards?
No, I did. Okay. So before I went to do the final boss, I did the beast. I did the beast in the workshop. I did the dragon flying around the top. I found Simon, and Simon whipped my ass. It was like, I don't have the time to do this right now. I was like, and I will come back in another playthrough to do that. So I did. So I think, with my knowledge, I did everything except Simon, and I forgot to go back and do the Gestural Beach where you have to jump up the tower without falling forever. Yeah. I forgot to complete that. But otherwise, I did it all before.
But you didn't go back after you finished the game, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Man, I was looking through Steam achievements. I'm like, this motherfucker went back into the painting after he chose like the verso, and he's giving me this much shit. That motherfucking hypocrite better not have any achievements after he got the final achievement. And of course, I can't find any of your achievements because none of your achievements are popping up on Steam. And I'm like,
I don't even have the bad ending. I watched the bad ending on YouTube after it happened.
Yeah. So a part of me kind of wanted to see that you got some achievements after you got that final ending achievement. I'm like, there must be some good ammunition. I'm like, you hypocrite, but no, it's. Okay,
no,
I believe.
No, I didn't. It's fine.
If Christian would have went as hard as you went, if Christian would have went as hard as you did, like I would be calling him a hypocrite right now. Like, don't you fucking come at me right now, Mister. I'm gonna go back to the painting after I know I took my decision.
No. So yeah, I went and did a whole second playthrough because I was like, well, fuck, dude. Yeah. I want to get the rest of this stuff, but two, I couldn't get enough, and I was like, and I want to go see what that other ending is. And then when I saw the other ending, I went, "Oh, thank God I picked Verso in the beginning, because I would have been distraught."
Dude, it hurt. Trust me. Like I looked up the YouTube version of the other one. I'm gonna play that game again, mainly because I feel like I got the hang of like the parry and dodging like much better right towards the end because I'm doing so much of it, and like they gave me enough of a window of the story mode. But like I felt really good about it. Now, who knows? Maybe that window made me feel really good about it, and I wasn't actually doing very well. But one of these days, I'm gonna go back to that game. I'll be doing it in the hard difficulty for sure.
I will too. No, I get the ending. I get the feeling you had in the ending too, because it's the same feeling I got after spending 100 hours in The Witcher 3 and getting the worst possible ending. Like I've been there.
Now, did Christian give you as much decision shaming as you gave me when you told him about that?
Not as much, but Christian always knows.
No, I think I said. Here's what I said, which is
Christian was more shocked that I actually picked the good ending because I'm notorious for picking the bad ending and everything.
Yeah. Because normally I will always say to him, and he knows it, and that's why it's not me giving him shit. But I always say, if he says what happened, I always go, "You have an amazing ability to
be fair,
find your way
The
into
Witcher
the worst
3
ending
has
in
a weird
video
way
games.
of giving you a certain ending. Like, there's decisions that you make that are kind of
It doesn't. It doesn't.
There's some decisions that you make that
No.
shouldn't really affect that ending. It's fine.
It absolutely should.
Just because I throw a
Okay.
snowball
it's
at
not-
somebody,
but-
she's gonna fucking get taken away?
Preston, how many times have you had something in your adult life that you found out was informed by something that happened to you as a child?
I mean, sure.
I'll answer it for you. It's all the fucking time.
Yeah.
It is not that crazy to assume that if you were bullied as a
I threw a
child
snowball
by
at
an adult, it's not just a snowball thing.
The
It's
letting
that you go,
letting
"Hey,
her wreck the room was a good decision. You need to let her get it out, and apparently that was the wrong choice to make.
Yeah.
When
It's about instilling confidence,
Sure.
and making and helping Ciri in moments where she doesn't feel good or she's not
don't
feeling,
know that going through a
kind of
game.
like a fucking dad would
I
do.
was playing it
And
as more of a
instead-
brother figure.
Well, that was incorrect because it's very clear that you're her dad. And then Alex, when he has the snowball fight with her, he's like, "Fuck you! I'm not gonna let you win, you fucking loser!" And then smokes her like 32-0. And then when she's older and she has had one of the biggest betrayals of her life up until that point, and she's trying to describe to you how fucking mad she is, instead of just being like, "Yeah, no, you deserve to be pissed. Go ahead." Instead, it's stop acting like a petulant child. And so then,
I
by
don't
the
think
time
the-
it comes towards the end,
the
she's
Witcher-
like, "You know what? Maybe I should just fucking die. Maybe that would be better for everybody if I die and let this whole thing. I'll sacrifice
Witcher-
myself to save this world because
No.
clearly it's better off with me out and not in it."
The
And then
Witcher was
Alex, of
notorious.
course, as soon as she dies, he goes, "Oh, what?"
The Witcher was notorious
Yeah.
though for like giving you 3 answers, and when you would choose them, the dialogue was nothing like the 3 answers that you chose. And you would just be like, on paper, it sounds like I should go with this one. And then they would say it out loud, and you're like, that's not what
No.
I just had an option
That's what I'll
of.
give to fucking Expedition 33. The answers the choices that you make in decisions, as far as like dialogue, you get those exact dialogue pieces. I'm like, thank you.
It wasn't just The Witcher. I mean, I would have to go back and look, but I am notorious
More than one,
for getting the bad
That's fine.
ending,
It's
even
just a
on
video game,
even on
man. Yeah, it's
simple
fine.
games.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
like video
I think I got the bad ending on Dredge, because you can have multiple endings on Dredge. Like I can just always get the bad ending.
It never ends. You just always find your way into the worst
congrats,
endings
Alex. You
of
got the good
every
one this
fucking
time.
game.
Good job.
Yeah. So
Stop the streak.
like I said, I'll change everything back today. I told Christian I was gonna hold it out
No,
until
that's
the
fine.
mod. So
Now I can feel better about
so
myself
let's-
later on today. And then we're done with that.
there you go. Well, catch up with us later this week, everybody, as we talk about Tomb Raider Remastered Part 2. I don't know why this is the hardest part of my week every time. And we'll plow through that. So join us there, and we will catch you next time. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or to check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcast. If watching is more your thing, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/@thetestingroom, or watch us live on twitch.tv/testingroomlive. To leave comments or ask questions, you can follow us on Instagram @testingroompod, leave a comment on YouTube, or send them in to testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.